Hello and welcome to our Financial Literacy Education Series, where we help you get a better understanding about your money, become more engaged with your money and make better decisions about your money. My name's Corin Jacker. I'm from Priority One Wealth Management Group. So far in our series, we've covered off a range of topics, starting with why we even need to become engaged with our money, getting good advice if you need it, really important episode on managing cash flow and budgeting. Then we looked at wealth creation strategies, managing those assets once you decide on those strategies and where to invest the money. And then a range of issues around retirement planning, insurances and estate planning. What we want to do in the next few episodes is just recap some of the issues for each life stage. And why we want to do that is because over the lifetime, the decisions and focuses are much different for, say, a 25-year-old than it will be for a 75-year-old. So we're going to start looking at what we call the first life stage today, which is 20 to 35-year-olds. So some of the strategies that we really want to focus on at this stage in life. And I recommend, if you haven't watched it, we have done a student financial literacy education special. It is aimed at 15 to 16-year-old school students, but it covers off a really wide range of basic concepts that young adults would all benefit from understanding. Making sure you understand what income you're earning, your tax position, your superannuation funds, understanding cash flow and budgeting, understanding some of the benefits of investment and compound interest. So let's recap some of that. So the first thing we talk about with someone in their 20s and 30s is to be careful around debt particularly. Personal debts can get out of hand. So there's a real trap for young people to take on personal loans, credit card debt, for things particularly that don't appreciate in value. So one of our rules of thumbs is we prefer not to borrow any money for things that depreciate in value or go down in value. So you don't want to borrow money to buy a car. You don't want to borrow money to buy furniture. You don't want to borrow money to go on holiday. So minimise those debts or eliminate them entirely if we can. Understand the compound interest effect. So again, that school student session covers off compound interest and what it all means, but a quick summary is basically compound interest is where you make an investment and when the interest that you earn on that or the return you get on that is reinvested back into the investment, and then you get interest not only on your original investment but on that interest that you've earned as well. So you get interest on interest. That then compounds and compounds. In the real short term, it doesn't seem to make a lot of difference, but in the long term, it is significant in terms of the difference it makes. So whether you're looking at saving something in your own name or whether you're just looking at things like superannuation as one of your long-term investment vehicles, have a good understanding of the benefit of compound interest, start saving early, start reinvesting that income. Just on that as well, in terms of getting to save money, whether it be in superannuation or investment in your own name, go back and have a look, if you haven't already, on our episode on cash flow and budgeting. Because in terms of creating wealth, you cannot create wealth unless you've got an understanding of your cash flow, unless you know what income you're getting, what expenses you're paying, and if there is any money left over. And it's important, we need to identify that surplus money left over, because without that, we can't have a wealth creation conversation. If you want to really simplify it, some rules of thumbs that we've used in previous episodes. If you're in debt, we still think you should pay off debts and still save an additional 10% of your income towards something. If you don't have debt, it should be 20%. And if you live at home with the support of your parents, you should be saving 50% of your income. When you start out, particularly when you get your first serious paying job, we do need to start thinking about insurance. Now, my quick view on insurance is you need lots of insurance when you have lots of debt, young children, and no other assets. And thankfully for most people, and they're in their 20s and 30s at that stage, and large amounts of insurance is relatively cheap. But until you have debts and young children, the need for life insurance is probably less likely. but the need for income protection insurance can become quite valuable. Income protection insurance provides you with a replacement form of income should you not be able to work through illness or accident. For more information, go and have a look at our episode on insurances that we've done in the past. So generally, young people don't need to worry too much about most of the levels of insurance, but once you start earning a serious amount of income, income protection insurance becomes important. Once you have children and debts, then life insurance, TPD, and even trauma insurance become important. Again, go back and look at our episode on insurance cover to get a better understanding of those concepts. If you're in your 20s and 30s, superannuation is probably not going to appear on your radar too much, but it should be thought about a little bit. The main things that I would take away with superannuation at that age is that, first of all, have a look at your super fund. You want it to be in a low-cost environment. To put that in perspective, currently in Australia at the moment, the average super fund charges around 1 to 1.1%. So if you're paying 1% or less, you're kind of on the right ballpark there. The other thing, at that age, you are not going to get access to this money for a long time, 4 decades. So put it into a high growth profile. That's going to give you the highest probability, the highest return over that kind of time frame. So if it's volatile, if it goes up and down with market movement, it doesn't matter too much. In fact, it's just an opportunity for you to keep contributing more money. In terms of contributions to superannuation, the balance has to be made between the preservation that it's locked up forever and also trying to build these funds in a tax-effective environment. Again, a general rule of thumb, a key takeaway for people at that age is maybe start putting a little bit extra into super, $20 a pay, $50 a pay. Do that at an early age. You probably won't notice it too much, but with the compound interest effect, it will make a significant difference. So next episode, we're going to look at 35 to 50-year-olds. I hope you got some value of today. Thank you and goodbye.